Welcome to the Monsters Among Us podcast. This is episode 22, Dover Demon.
Ah, the Dover Demon. A really strange case.
Definitely. So we're heading back to April 1977. Picture this small, pretty quiet town, Dover, Massachusetts.
Not usually the place you'd expect something like this.
Exactly. But over just 2 nights, April 21st and 22nd, several local teenagers had these, well, really bizarre encounters.
Separate sightings, too, which is key.
Right, separate sightings of this weird creature. And these weren't just quick glimpses. The kids were genuinely shaken up.
Yeah, described as haunting, even traumatizing, and they documented it, which gives us something solid to look at.
That's what makes it stick around, you know?
Yeah.
So today, we're going to dive into these stories, look at what they actually saw or described seeing.
And explore those lingering questions. What was it?
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Night 1, April 21st, about 10:30 p.m.
Yeah, sounds right. Bill Bartlett, 17 years old, driving home.
He wasn't alone, though. Had friends with him, Andy Brody and Mike Mazzacca.
Right, coming back from a party, I think. They're on Farm Street, just crossing the Charles River.
And Bill spots something. Up on a low stone wall.
At first, maybe just an animal, dark road.
But then they get closer. And it's
Yeah.
not a normal animal.
No. And the reaction to the car's high beams is what really stands out in his account.
What happened?
It turned, and Bill saw these huge, glowing orange eyes.
Orange eyes, that's specific.
Very. And his description of the creature itself, pretty detailed, about 4 feet tall.
Okay, so not huge, but noticeable.
Long limbs, spindly fingers, gray skin, kind of hairless looking.
In the head?
Huge, like melon-shaped, way too big for the body. And the really unsettling part, no obvious nose or mouth.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's properly weird. Understandably, Bill got spooked.
Totally. He hit the gas, got out of there.
But then, as teenagers sometimes do, they decided to go back.
Well, apparently the friends kind of pushed for it. Maybe disbelief, maybe curiosity. Bill was reluctant, sounds like.
I bet, but they went back.
But they went back.
Nothing. It was gone. But Bill didn't just forget it. What did he do when he got home?
This is crucial, I think. He immediately got out his sketchbook and drew it.
Right away?
Yeah. And apparently swore to his family that it was real, that he'd seen this thing, that immediate action, the drawing. It adds weight,
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Suggests it wasn't just a fleeting glimpse or something easily dismissed. He needed to record it.
Exactly. It wasn't just a story told later. It was an immediate reaction.
Okay, so that's sighting number 1. But the night wasn't over.
Nope. About 2.5 hours later, still April 21st. Different witness.
This time it's John Baxter, 15 years old.
He's walking home from his girlfriend's place on Miller Hill Road, about to turn onto Farm Street.
Farm Street again. Seems important.
It does. And he sees a figure walking towards him. Dim light.
Calls out. Thinking it's someone he knows.
Yeah, but gets no answer. Just this figure approaching. As it gets closer, again, those large, glowing orange eyes.
Same eyes as Bill reported. Orange.
Exactly the same description. At this point, the creature bolts, runs off into a gully, then into the woods.
And John. He followed it. Bit brave, maybe foolish.
Teenage curiosity, maybe adrenaline. Yeah, he pursued it for a bit.
What did he see then?
He mentioned how fast and agile it was moving through the woods, not clumsy.
Okay.
It stopped near a stream, grabbed onto a tree, and looked back at him.
With the glowing eyes again.
Glowing orange eyes. That seems to be when John suddenly thought, uh-oh, maybe this isn't safe.
Yeah, good call. So he backed off.
He retreated, yeah. Managed to hitch a ride the rest of the way home.
And like Bill,
Like Bill, he also drew what he saw when he got home.
how did his sketch compare?
He apparently said it wasn't as detailed as Bill's might have been, but it showed the main things. Small body, big head, and those glowing orange eyes.
So 2 separate witnesses, different locations, but nearby, roughly 2.5 hours apart, both describing a very similar creature, especially those eyes.
The consistency there is, well, it's pretty compelling.
But it doesn't end there. The next night, April 22nd.
Right, around 9:3 p.m. this time, third encounter.
This involves Abby Brabham, 15, driving with her boyfriend, William Tainter.
They're on Springdale Avenue heading towards, guess where?
Farm Street.
Towards Farm Street, yeah. And Abby sees something, crouching position this time, on a culvert by the road.
What did she describe?
Again, small, strange humanoid shape, large head, big face. She used the term weird body and said it looked sort of tannish.
Tannish, okay. A bit different from Bill's gray description.
Slightly different skin tone description, yeah. But here's the really key difference.
The eyes.
The eyes. Abby reported them as large and glowing green.
Green, not orange.
Green, that's the major inconsistency between her sighting and the first two.
Did her boyfriend see it clearly?
William Tainter apparently just caught a quick glimpse of something strange before it vanished, so Abby got the better look.
Did she also?
Yep, she also sketched it. So we have 3 sketches from 3 separate encounters over 2 nights.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. We have similarities: small body, big head, weird limbs, generally humanoid, but not quite right.
Definitely not right. And that lack of clear facial features apart from the eyes seems consistent, even if Abby mentioned a big face, maybe meaning the head shape.
Maybe. But then we have the differences. Skin tone slightly varies, maybe lighting. But the eye color, orange, then green.
That eye color shift is the puzzle. Was it the light? Was it perception? Or was Abby seeing something slightly different? Or even the same thing under different conditions? It's hard to say.
A cryptozoologist, Lauren Coleman, actually investigated this pretty early on, didn't he? He coined the name Dover demon.
He did. And he interviewed the witnesses and came away convinced they weren't making it up, that they genuinely saw something they couldn't explain.
Something else you pointed out earlier, the locations. Bill near the river, John near a gully and stream, Abby near a culvert.
Yes, the proximity to water in all 3 sightings. That's interesting.
Why? Does that connect any theories?
Well, it does link, interestingly, to one potential explanation rooted in local folklore, Native American legends from that region.
Oh, tell me about that.
Specifically, stories of the Manigishi, or sometimes called Memegishi.
Manigishi. What are they described as?
Get this. Tiny creatures, often tricksters, with oversized heads, large eyes, thin little stick-like limbs, and often described as having no discernible mouth or nose.
Okay, hold on. That sounds remarkably similar to Bill and John's descriptions.
It's striking, isn't it? And crucially, the Manigishi are almost always associated with rivers, lakes, rocky areas near water.
Wow. The parallels are hard to ignore. Oversized head, big eyes, thin limbs, no real face, near water.
It makes you wonder, were the teens tapping into some echo of local legend? Or did the legends perhaps describe something real that they encountered?
Or maybe it's just coincidence, but it's a strong one. What about other theories? The go-to for weird creatures is often
Aliens, extraterrestrials, yes, that theory comes up.
does the description fit?
Some aspects do. You know, the large head, the slender grayish body reported by Bill, the big eyes. It aligns with some classic gray alien tropes.
Right.
And apparently 1977 was a pretty active year for UAP sightings in North America, so the timing fits a certain narrative.
But there's always a but.
The big but is no spaceship, no lights in the sky reported alongside the creature, no sense of arrival or departure technology, just the creature itself.
So an alien just wandering around Dover on foot for 2 nights.
Seems less likely than, say, a landed craft nearby, which nobody reported, so the ET theory has that significant hole in it for this case.
Okay, what about more down-to-earth explanations? Could it have just been a known animal, misidentified in the dark?
People have certainly tried. The most common suggestion put forward was maybe a moose calf. They have long legs, can look awkward.
A moose in Dover.
Exactly. Dover isn't really typical moose habitat. It's possible, but unlikely. And does a moose calf really match? The melon head, glowing eyes, no nose-mouth description? Seems a stretch.
Yeah, a big stretch. Any other animals suggested?
Maybe an escaped monkey or something. Or an owl, misidentified. Nothing seems to really fit all the details, especially that head and the lack of features. The descriptions are just too specific and too weird.
And there was that slightly earlier report, too, wasn't there? From 1972.
Ah, yes. Mark Senat, a local guy. He reported seeing something years earlier in 72.
Similar description.
Less detailed, but he described a short creature with illuminated eyes running across the road near a pond.
Illuminated eyes again. And near water again.
Adds another little piece, suggesting maybe these weren't totally isolated events in 77, even if that's when the main cluster happened.
Someone also plotted the 77 sightings on a map, right?
Yes, and interestingly, the 3 main sighting locations seem to fall along a relatively straight line.
What could that mean? A path.
It could suggest a travel route, maybe migration, or just the creature moving through its perceived territory. Or again, maybe just coincidence based on where the roads and witnesses were. But it's another intriguing detail.
And then silence. After April 77, the Dover demon sightings just stopped. In Dover, at least.
Pretty much. No credible reports since. It's like it vanished as quickly as it appeared, which is common in these cryptid cases, but still adds to the mystery.
Did similar things get reported elsewhere, though?
There have been scattered reports globally of creatures with somewhat similar descriptions. Lauren Coleman mentioned a case from Brazil in 1996, for example. So maybe not entirely unique to Dover, but the concentration of sightings there was unusual.
So wrapping this up, we're left without a clear answer, aren't we?
Definitely. It remains a genuine mystery. We have these multiple independent witnesses, mostly teenagers who seemed credible and genuinely scared.
We have sketches they made immediately after. We have a really bizarre, consistent description in the first two sightings, with that odd eye color change in the third.
We have links to water, potential echoes in Native American folklore, slight overlaps with alien descriptions, but no supporting evidence.
And known animals just don't seem to fit the bill.
No. So the question really hangs there for you, listening. Considering these detailed accounts, the drawings, this truly unique creature description, what do you think those kids saw on those 2 nights in Dover?
Was it just fear and shadow playing tricks? Was it something from legend making a brief appearance? Or was it something else entirely? Something unknown that crossed their path for a few terrifying moments?
It leaves you wondering about the edges of the map, doesn't it? What else might be out there, just glimpsed but never fully understood?